Book 3, The Argument. God sitting on his throne sees Satan flying towards this world then newly created, shows him to the Son who sat at his right hand, foretells the success of Satan in perverting mankind, clears his own justice and wisdom from all imputation, having created man free and able enough to have withstood his tempter, yet declares his purpose of grace towards him, in regard he fell not of his own malice as did Satan, but by him seduced. The Son of God renders praises to the Father for the manifestation of his gracious purpose towards man, but God again declares that grace cannot be extended towards man without the satisfaction of divine justice. Man hath offended the majesty of God by aspiring to Godhead, and therefore with all his progeny devoted to death must die, unless someone can be found sufficient to answer for his offense and undergo his punishment. The Son of God freely offers himself a ransom for man. The Father accepts him, ordains his incarnation, pronounces his exaltation above all names in heaven and earth, commands all the angels to adore him. They obey, and hymning to their harps in full choir, celebrate the Father and the Son. Meanwhile, Satan alights upon the bare convex of this world's outermost orb, where, wandering, he first finds a place since called the limbo of vanity. What persons and things fly up thither? Thence comes to the gate of heaven, described ascending by stairs, and the waters above the firmament that flow about it. His passage thence to the orb of the sun, he finds there Uriel, the regent of that orb, but first changes himself into the shape of a meaner angel, and pretending a zealous desire to behold the new creation and man whom God had placed here, inquires of him the place of his habitation, and is directed, alights first on Mount Nephades. Hail, holy light, offspring of heaven, firstborn, or of the eternal co-eternal beam. May I express thee unblamed. Since God is light, and never but in unapproached light, dwelt from eternity, dwelt then in thee, bright efflorescence of bright essence increate. Or hearest thou rather pure ethereal stream, whose fountain who shall tell? But before the sun, before the heaven thou wert, and at the voice of God, as with a mantle didst invest the rising world of waters dark and deep, one from the void and formless infinite. Thee I revisit now with bolder wing, escaped the Stygian pool, though long detained in that obscure sojourn, while in my flight through utter and through middle darkness borne with other notes than to the Orphean lyre, I sung of chaos and eternal night, taught by the heavenly muse to venture down the dark descent and up to reascend, though hard and rare. Thee I revisit safe, and feel thy sovereign vital lamp, but thou revisitest not these eyes that roll in vain, to find thy piercing ray and find no dawn. So thick a drop serene hath quenched their orbs, or dim suffusion veiled, yet not the more cease I to wander where the muses haunt. Clear spring, or shady grove, or sunny hill, smit with the love of sacred song, but chief thee Sion and the flowery brooks beneath, that wash thy hallowed feet, and warbling flow, nightly I visit, nor sometimes forget those other two equalled with me in fate. So were I equalled with them in renown. Blind Thamyris and blind Maeonides, and Tiresias and Phoenicius, prophets old, then feed on thoughts that voluntary move harmonious numbers, as the wakeful bird sings darkling, and in the shadiest covert hid tunes her nocturnal note. Thus with the year seasons return, but not to me returns day, or the sweet approach of even or morn, or sight of vernal bloom or summer's rose, or flocks or herds, or human face divine. But cloud instead and ever-during dark surrounds me, from the cheerful ways of men cut off, and for the book of knowledge fair presented with a universal blank of nature's work, to me expunged and razed, and wisdom at once entrance quite shut out. So much the rather, thou celestial light, shine inward, and the mind through all her powers irradiate. There plant eyes, all mist from thence purge and disperse, that I may see and tell of things invisible to mortal sight.